Competition versus cooperation is such a fascinating subject. At the biological level, when we study organisms in their natural environments, we can see that cooperative reciprocity, that mutual aid is a fundamental principle of biology, that in natural settings, organisms are not necessarily fighting against one another for survival, but are actually working with one another within the context of the conditions of the environment to maintain their own living conditions and to perpetuate further living conditions for organisms. But that being said, competition certainly does exist. It's not that cooperation is the fundamental principle that excludes competition. It's that these both exist and that they are, in fact, environmentally dependent. And what governs a shift from cooperation to competition is perhaps what should be of our concern. I would wager to propose that as we move up through the trophic levels and organisms are enhanced in their ability to exercise the element of choice, there are built-in fail-safes for the regulation of the growth of a species. Just as with a lower order organism, that being one that lacks the complexity that leads to enhanced levels of choice, organisms grow until they hit the food wall and then they die back. But we can see with organisms such as the human population that have the ability to manipulate environmental conditions to the extent that we can keep producing food even when our own environments are degrading, is it not worthwhile to consider that there are fail-safes built into the system that will regulate the growth of our species? That this is perhaps part of the function of the ego, of the will to survive also has a counterbalance in the will to die. The will to create is balanced by the will to complace. So, competition versus cooperation is in fact a fundamentally fascinating subject, if not the fundamental underpinnings of what we can see as the evidence for the spectrum of vitality to morbidity. In that when organisms are vital and healthy, they remain in a state of cooperation. When health is lost, they move into morbidity. So, yes, once again, I propose that there is this fundamental underpinning as a biological regularity that allows organisms to move into a competitive phase to in fact regulate their own proliferation.